four-man front for the Jags. Pump fake. He's going to get hit. He's going to get sacked. Unique Ngakoue got him inside the 45-yard line. Great work by that Jaguars front. Jacksonville rears its head.
Jaguars football is on the air.
On the air.
This is the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey have all the news and information you need to get you ready for today's game. The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, Geico, Ticket Exchange, and by TIAA Bank. Now to get things started, here are Mike Dempsey and JP Shadrick.
The Thanksgiving holiday weekend comes to a close with a trip to Western New York for a rematch of last season's AFC wildcard playoff. This time around, though, both teams are far from a repeat playoff appearance. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 3-7 are trying to snap a 6-game losing skid against the 3-7 Buffalo Bills. Kickoff coming up at 1 o'clock at New Era Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Welcome into the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. And here we go. After Thanksgiving, the Jaguars certainly didn't think they'd be in this position this year, but here they are. They've lost 6 straight. They've just got to start with one somewhere, and what better place than Orchard Park today?
Well, what better place because it's where they're playing today.
Correct.
Right? I mean, honestly, JP, it's desperation time. The whole season's gone off the rails. Wouldn't have been shocking, although it would have been more surprising from Buffalo's standpoint if these teams had been, let's say, 6-4 and tied. I mean, they did meet in the playoffs last year, so they're both experiencing some disappointment, but Buffalo kind of retooling with a rookie quarterback. The Jags thought they were built, ready to go, be a contender, and all that talk is long out the window now. Like you said, just win a football game today. That's all you can do. Worry about next week.
The weather conditions in Buffalo today, low 40s and pretty clear, not clear, but overcast, not raining, no precipitation,
right.
At least in the forecast. You never know this time of year in Buffalo. They got lucky today.
No, that seems like ideal conditions to go out there and play football. You know, mid-40s to low 40s, and like you said, no rain, sleet, snow, or hail. So let's get it on. No excuses.
Let's get to today's top story, starting off with the Jaguars 3-7 as the standings look now. The 6th seed and the wild card is at a 5-5 record. There are a lot of teams, though, between the Jaguars and that number 6 seed. Head coach Doug Marrone, though, has a simple approach.
Hey, listen, when you've lost this many games in a row, we're just focused on trying to win one game, this game right now. I mean, because you can't focus on anything else. I mean, we've got to do whatever we have to do to go win a game. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to.
No looking at the standings, no worried about, hey, if we win and need some help and this and that. There are bigger issues right now for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that is finishing a 60-minute football game. They've been so close, but yet so far.
Right, and so close doesn't get you anything but a loss quite often. At least it has for the last 6 weeks. And, it is true. If you look at it, you say, wow, hey, Baltimore's only 5-5. They're in the last spot in the AFC playoffs right now. Problem is you have 6 or 7 teams between you and Baltimore in the standings. So the likelihood is every week a few of those teams are going to win, and it just makes it – you put yourself in a position where all you can do is take care of your own business. Scoreboard watching is out the window.
Jags are 14th in the AFC right now.
Right. Jets, who they beat, and Oakland, only teams worse. Buffalo comes in. They would have a lower draft slot than the Jaguars. Now, obviously, today's game will go a long way to determining that. But the Cleveland Browns at 3-6-1 are in better shape than the Jaguars right now.
Think about that.
I have, unfortunately, right after going 1-31 right? over the last 2 years and firing their head coach this season. They're still in better shape than where the Jags stand.
Jaguars quarterback Blake Bortles taking some criticism. We've heard that story before. It's been a career-long conversation about him. But he was asked this week, how is this adversity different?
Hey, to me, it's all the same. There's problems and there's challenges, and you either got to find a way to overcome them or you don't. And you live with the consequences one way or the other. So, I think it's a challenge, for me, I think for everybody individually and for us as a team and a unit. And, I got all the confidence in the world that we can fight through this thing together and come out the other side.
Everybody's got a thought about this position and this player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The question is, there's 6 games left in this season. Will he carry this team? Can he get something done the rest of this year? First off, and what's going to happen next year? That's the big question for the offseason.
Yeah, look, Blake's going through a lot of different things, and he has throughout his career. 5 years now in Jacksonville. It's been plenty of time, for a top 5 pick to develop, in my opinion, JP. I feel like right now he's got some open guys, and he's not pulling the trigger. I base this on listening to what the coaches have to say, listening to what the film watchers like Jeff Loggeman and Tony Baselli have to say, that he's just not pulling the trigger, so that's exacerbating some of the other issues they have with guys not getting a ton of separation. But when they do, you gotta cock and fire if you're the quarterback. Here's what can't happen today. You cannot let a rookie quarterback go out there and outshine you. A rookie quarterback who hasn't played in a long time because he's been banged up himself, a guy who Jalen Ramsey dismissed as absolute trash this offseason, and a lot of people question whether he was worthy of a first-round pick. He's got the tools, but does he have the makeup to be a great quarterback? You can't let that guy going up against this defense, as well as they played against Pittsburgh for the majority of that game last week, go out there and look like the better quarterback. That will tell a lot about not only Blake Bortles, tell a lot about this defense today as well. That's my big question coming to this game. The motivation was there against Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Are they going to play like their hair's on fire against Buffalo?
All that talk about Blake Bortles and what he can or cannot do, well, the Jags offense has been beat up around him as well all year long. Offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett asked about the offensive line injuries this week, but he expanded it to the entire offense.
I've never really, I don't even know if I've ever heard of something like this. Even asking Coach Coughlin, and this was actually, I want to say probably week 5 before it has actually gotten to this level, which you didn't think it could get much crazier. But even talking with him, I just remember he looked at me and said, "This is a total abomination. I don't understand how this can happen." I mean, and once again, the guys that we have are awesome, and they're fighting, and they're doing everything they can to get ready. And I give them so much credit for that, and just our whole team rallying around the guys that are there. But it is crazy when you look at, week 1 through 4, and then you look at our team now. It's a different team out there, and that's just part of it, and we got to find a way to move the ball.
Offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett there, and when they were talking, him and Coughlin, he said that was back in like week 5. That's before it really went downhill. That was Kansas City is when the wheels kind of came off of this thing in terms of injuries. And it's gotten worse and worse as the weeks have gone on.
Considerably worse since then, right? Now, because now you're down basically your 4th left tackle. Brandon Linder's done for the year. You've had the other guys on and off the injury report quite frequently. Look, it's a factor. I don't think it's an excuse, though. Certainly it's a factor in the play of this team. Is it the number one thing? Heck, it may be. But you combine that with inconsistent quarterback play. You combine that with second-year receivers not taking a major leap forward this year. You combine that with the long absence of Leonard Fournette. I mean, there's so many things. It's a perfect brew to play ineffective football on the offensive side, and they have cooked it up to perfection.
Plenty of talk this week about the offensive trend in the NFL. A lot of points being scored earlier in the week. From cornerback Jalen Ramsey's perspective, that actually might help defensive backs.
That's kind of what the league's turning into. They want exciting football. It's an offensive league, so as a corner, I think that's why we're so valuable nowadays. And, yeah, it makes our job tough, but you got to embrace that challenge.
Now, there you have it. Jalen Ramsey looking at it from a different perspective, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're an elite guy like Jalen Ramsey, and there are few and far between, if you can get one of those in today's game, name your price, right? And so from that standpoint, they're more valuable, and they are valuable to what goes on out there, JP. But there's some thought that, what you want in today's game, you're not going to be able to shut down offenses in today's game. You can impact the flow of the game, though. We saw that game 54-51 on Monday Night Football, but Aaron Donald made 2 game-changing plays on defense with forced fumbles on sacks. So you can be a highly paid defensive player, but don't expect to hold the other team down to 10 points every week. It's a different era that we live in, and it's the game-changing plays like Jalen Ramsey with the 2 interceptions last week. Had arguably his best game in a Jaguar uniform. Need more of those.
There you have it, our look around the top stories for the Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills today at 1 o'clock. Let's go around the National Football League in Week 12, and huge news coming out of Tampa this morning.
Yes, the San Francisco 49ers announcing they're releasing linebacker Reuben Foster after he was arrested last night at the team hotel in Tampa on suspicion of misdemeanor domestic violence battery. Foster had multiple run-ins with the law since being drafted by the Niners, 31st overall in 2017, and additionally, he was suspended for the first 2 games of the 2018 season for violating the NFL's conduct and substance abuse policies earlier this offseason. San Francisco general manager John Lynch said at the time when Foster had been accused of domestic violence, those charges were dropped after the female in question refused to press charges, said, look, you'll find out how serious we are if we find out if any of our players actually put a hand on a woman. Apparently, there's some evidence that he did this last night. Obviously, he got arrested, but there were physical marks on the young lady. They've had an on-again, off-again relationship for the last several years, and the 49ers decided they have had enough. Reuben Foster now out on the street. Retired Arizona Cardinals head coach Bruce Arians might not be out of the game for much longer, but only, he says, if a particular team comes calling. In an interview with NFL.com, Arians was asked about his coaching future and if a return to the sideline was possible. He replied, I would listen to the Browns and only them. Arians went on to cite the passion of the fan base as his primary reason for being interested in Cleveland, which is currently being held by interim coach Greg Williams. Couple of injuries to note right now. A.J. Green has been downgraded to out by the Cincinnati Bengals, came into the weekend doubtful. Melvin Gordon is listed as questionable for the L.A. Chargers today, although our early word is he is trending towards playing. Elsewhere around the AFC South today, Miami's in Indianapolis to take on the red-hot Colts. Both teams at 5-5, and thus both ahead of the Jags in the AFC playoff picture. And then Monday Night Football features Houston, winners of 7 in a row, hosting Tennessee. Of course, Houston Texans owner Bob McNair passing away on Friday at the age of 81. McNair owned the franchise since its inception in 2002, and condolences, of course, go out to his wife Janice and the entire McNair family and the Texans organization. Again, 7-3, hosting the 5-5 Tennessee Titans with a win. Houston's got to feel great about their chances to kind of put the rest of the division at arm's length.
It's amazing how that started, too, and that the game in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And then the went for it on fourth down. The Colts didn't get it, and then the 2 plays later, field goal to win, and they haven't lost since.
That's right. They've been red hot. The offense has been coming along. It was slow early in the season. The defense has picked it up. J.J. Watt had a slow start in his return from injury, as he has been wont to do in recent years, but he's played very well, and they look like the class of the division for sure.
We'll come back and go to Buffalo for the first time today. Visit with Tony Baselli, and Jeff Lageman is right around the corner. The Jaguars and the Bills coming up at 1 o'clock in Week 12 in Buffalo, and from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Radio.
Jaguars fans, Ashley Home Store is where you'll find the perfect Tempur-Pedic mattress to power your life. As the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in America and the official furniture and mattress store of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ashley Home Store offers Jaguars fans special pricing and 72 months no-interest financing. Just tell them the Jaguars sent you. Plus, a portion of every mattress sold helps provide free beds to local children in need. Shop for Tempur-Pedic at Ashley Home Store today and go Jaguars. Subject to credit approval. See store for details.
In Florida, bicyclists have the same rights and responsibilities as everyone else on the road. So when you ride, follow the rules. Always wear a helmet and use lights on your bike. And drivers, watch for cyclists. Give them space to ride. And don't forget, when making that right on red, look to your right first to see if a cyclist is approaching in the bike lane. We all have a responsibility to keep ourselves and each other safe. Alert today, alive tomorrow. Because safety doesn't happen by accident. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Welcome to Jimmy John's.
Hi, your new 9-grain wheat sub is so good. How do you make it?
With the highest quality ingredients and love. I mean, we definitely don't sing at lullabies when it's baking. Lullabies are what parents sing to babies.
Right.
And we don't use a baby carrier to carry the warm, fresh 9-grain wheat subs to the cooling racks. I mean, they're not babies. They're for making delicious sandwiches.
Okay, I'll take a turkey tom.
Oh, don't name them. It makes it harder.
Try our new 9-grain wheat sub, Jimmy John's. Wheat yeah, freak yeah.
If you are considering selling your home or just wondering what your home might be worth, it's important to talk with someone you can trust, a Weichert agent. Your Weichert agent will prepare a marketing plan that will help you arrive at the optimum selling price and will expose your home to more buyers faster. Contact a Weichert Realtors affiliate today by calling 1-800-USA-SOLD or visit Weichert.com to find the office nearest you. Weichert, local, knowledgeable, personal service. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
At ViStar, we believe in better convenience, so members can bank any way they want, whether it's at a branch, on a mobile device, or at one of more than 20,000 fee-free ATMs across North America. We believe that people have better things to do with their time. If you believe that convenience is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Hey Jaguars fans, are you ready to talk some trash? Well, nobody talks trash quite like Waste Pro, the official waste service and recycling partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Specializing in residential and commercial solid waste and recycling collection, processing, and disposal, Waste Pro is equipped to handle all your recycling and garbage removal needs. For service, call 904-731-7288. Waste Pro, caring for communities and caring for Jacksonville.
JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HennenyAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. The Jags and the Buffalo Bills tee it up at 1 o'clock at New Era Field in Orchard Park. JTA's Game Day Express is back and ready for action. Don't get stuck in game day traffic. Park at any of the 5 convenient locations and then hop on board and take it to the bank. Time now for First Rounds on Us.
New York Jets, first round choice, Jeff Lageman.
Jacksonville Jaguars have selected tackle Southern California, Tony Baselli.
Only way to the top is looking out for number one. And that's us, keep looking out for number one.
We welcome in our resident first-round picks, Jeff Lageman, Tony Baselli. Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Man, JP, it's fantastic here in Buffalo because it's about mid-40s. Yeah. It's not that cold.
Fantastic.
And this is like a heat wave for Buffalo this time of year.
Yeah, I wouldn't say fantastic, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Can we get a Buffalo wing count from last night, please?
Well, me and Tony had Italian.
Yeah, we decided to go Italian.
Yeah.
The world.
I know.
Yeah, we had a little Italian last night, you know. And
thought they might go looking for Kansas City barbecue up in Buffalo.
No, it was actually pretty good. There's this guy that used to be a pro wrestler way back in the day, and then when he kind of got out of wrestling, he got into the restaurant business, and so
he's from Italy.
Yeah, this restaurant has been in existence in the Buffalo area for 50 years. Is that right? About 50 years.
60s.
And it was cool, man, because you go into the restaurant, and first of all, the food was pretty good. But on top of that, the memorabilia of the old wrestlers, you know, like Bruno Sammartino. I mean, all these old-timey guys, you know.
Very nice.
JP has no idea who Bruno Sammartino is, by the way.
I know who he is because I'm old. I mean? But would we know who the owner is, or is he just an obscure guy?
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I do. Ilio DiPaolo.
There you go.
All right.
And that's the restaurant
the
called
would
DiPaolo.
Be no, I would not know who that is.
Let's get to football.
He was a world champion. The belt was up.
Yeah, he had the belt up there and everything. What was the name of the club? It was some kind of a club, the club champion or whatever. I mean, there was probably about 15 different championships when you talk about wrestling going back into that era, and everybody just went out and said, hey, let's make a belt and call it the Jones League, and it's the championship. Yeah, that's it. So it's kind of one of those deals.
To football now. Marcel Darius going back to Buffalo. Did not practice the first 2 days of practice this week. Limited on Friday. Questionable for the game. Just talking to him this week, you know he wants to go. What's the feeling on Marcel this
He's
week?
going to play. I don't know
think
that.
So too.
But I think he's going to play. I mean, Marcel's had some issues where he's been questionable before, and he's a starter now because of the demotion with Malik Jackson. And an opportunity to play against a team that traded him away. I mean, why wouldn't you try to find a way to play? And I think Marcel Darius is a pro, and he's playing at a high level, and he's also playing for a contract for next year. So I think he'll be there.
Yeah, I don't have any question about Marcel Darius' motivation for this game, guys. Overall, though, defensively, I thought they put a lot on the line against the Pittsburgh Steelers emotionally and otherwise, having lost 6 in a row now. What kind of performance, what kind of edge do you expect them to come out with today?
Well, I think they come out with some energy at the start, but if it doesn't go well early, that's what I worry about. If all of a sudden you get the offense sputtering and, you know, Shady McCoy puts a drive together and they find themselves down 7-0, I could see it going sideways fast. Now, the opposite could happen as well. They get a fast start and they get it going, and they could run away with this thing because they are the better team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what to expect here. Tony's talking about coming out with maybe some energy, and then it could be the opposite in that they're waiting for something good to happen because of. I mean, look, that was an emotional loss last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was the reality hitting you in the face. That look, you're not a playoff team and you're not going to be in the playoffs. And I think this Buffalo Bill team is different. First of all, they're coming off of a bye, so they're going to be refreshed. This fan base didn't expect the Buffalo Bills to be a playoff contender like the Jaguars fan base expected. I don't think they expected it out of themselves if you asked them deep down about it because they committed to a young quarterback. So I think there's more positivity with the Bills at 3-7 than there is with the Jaguars at 3-7. So I don't know how this game is going to go. I don't know how the energy is going to go. I do know this. This is a toss-up game. This is a toss-up game. Even though the Jaguars have a better defense, the Buffalo Bills are playing just as good a football. I mean, the record says so.
Well, but here's the difference. I don't think Josh Allen's a very good quarterback. And I'll just be shocked.
Yeah, so let me say this. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. I don't think Blake Bortles is a very good quarterback.
Blake Bortles is better than Josh Allen right now. I'm just telling you right now, he's better.
Well, let me ask you this.
And by the way, if the Jaguars' defense is better than the Bills' defense, I have no idea.
Who do you feel better about going forward, though? I mean,
it doesn't matter. I'm
whether
talking
you
about
have
today,
Blake or whether you have Josh Allen.
You're more hopeful because of Josh Allen
Sure.
because of the unknown, but I don't care about the going forward. I'm talking about today. There's no way Josh Allen can beat this. If you take away Shady McCoy, I don't think the Bills can score more than 7 points.
You don't think the Bills can score more than 7?
No. If you take away Shady McCoy, I see no way that they can do it with Josh Allen.
I'm looking at the Jaguars.
Hold on. He goes to one receiver, and as soon as that's not there, he is looking to run. His feet get happy. I mean, I just don't see it.
Which the Jaguars' defense they've had some issues with mobile quarterbacks this year, so maybe that's an issue. I don't know. Look, I don't know what to expect. I just know that this is not a game that I feel good about today. And I don't feel bad about it either, but at the beginning of the season, you sat there and you go, check mark win. And you can't do that right now.
That's fair.
Not with a team losing 6 in a row.
I agree with that, Jeff.
All right, guys, what's this offense going to look like today for the Jaguars? Is it run heavy again? Is Blake going to
like the last couple weeks?
More?
It's going to look exactly the same.
I agree.
It's going to be
no change.
A heavy dose of Leonard Fournette. I don't see it getting any better as far as the passing game. They had issues with protection, and a big question mark, I think, in today's game is A.J. Cann going to play? Because if Chris Reed plays, Chris Reed gave up 3 or 4 sacks, not all by himself, but in conjunction with some games working with the center, Tyler Shatley, and then also with Jeremy Parnell. But there was issues there, so I don't think it changes whatsoever. I think it's going to be the exact same as the last 2 weeks, and I think the Buffalo Bills defense, I don't think they have any dominant players right now.
I worry about Jerry Hughes going against Eric Flowers.
That's a great question.
Let me just tell you that much right now.
He by the way, Tony and I both watched the Jets play the Buffalo Bills 2 weeks ago. Jerry Hughes had arguably the best game of any defensive player that week in the National Football League.
They didn't block him.
I mean, he was unbelievable against the Jets. And I don't know who was playing left tackle for the New York Jets.
Yeah, you do.
Who?
Kelvin Beachum.
That was No, that wasn't Beachum in that game.
Yes,
it was somebody else,
no,
I think.
It was Beachum.
If that was Beachum, that's terrible.
It was Beachum.
I didn't think it was Beachum. Didn't look like Beachum.
68.
The guy looked too tall.
He's 68.
Wow.
All right, guys, let's look at special
numbers.
teams here. With Lorente McCray already out and DJ Chark now being rolled out this week, how much of a concern is that in terms of coverage on special teams units?
Well, I think he's your best special teams player. Chark? I honestly think that DJ Chark is your best special teams player this year.
Yep.
I think now. I'm not talking as a whole. If you add the whole year, at this point of the season, he has been your best performer.
It hurts to lose him.
And to not have him, and then also you're going to be missing Lorente McCray.
The combination is brutal.
That's not good. And also, Chark was a really good blocker on offense for your running game. He was willing to stick his nose in there. And so now you're going to have to probably get more reps to a Keelan Cole. And look, guys, Keelan Cole over the last 2 games doesn't even have a target because the quarterback won't look his way. Because he had 6 drops and he's fumbled the ball twice and the quarterback has lost confidence in him. So now you're losing a guy that was starting to come on and you feel good about his first performance on special teams. And does Keelan Cole get those reps? If he does, I don't know where the confidence is going to change with Blake Bortles, but maybe Rashad Green gets more of those reps. And if Rashad Green does, Mike, what's the percentage of turning the ball over with Rashad Green Jr.?
Not going to be good. Hopefully,
It's not good, right?
Hopefully, it will be good, but it hasn't been. No.
Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about having two guys that have a history of coughing the ball up or losing the control of the football, and that's a huge concern.
Huge concern, certainly. We'll hear from Joe DeCamillis coming up a little bit later, special teams coordinator, to break down what's happening with his units here. We'll come back in a moment. The fantasy picks are right around the corner. Frank Frangie joins us as well. The Jaguars and the Bills tee it up at 1 o'clock in Buffalo. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In the mid-'90s, I bought a piece of land in Austin with a credit card check and built the very first micro distillery in the history of the state of Texas. I'd never built a still before, so I did some research and designed and built my own pot stills based on Prohibition-era bust photos I found in the library. I didn't know then that this was kind of the start of the American craft distilling movement, right here in Austin, Texas. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch. An online or phone chat for those quick questions. And a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
If you've ever been in a vehicle crash, then you know the impact caused by a collision. Now imagine the force of a crash so great, people are killed. My name is Eric. I sat behind the wheel and drove drunk. I caused a crash that killed 2 young women, Megan and Lisa. Now, I sit alone in my jail cell. Megan and Lisa were taken forever, and their families and friends were left devastated. Don't drink and drive, and remember our roadways are connected to our families.
This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Looking to tailgate in your dream RV this football season? Visit Campers Inn RV and shop their huge selection of fifth wheels, motorhomes, and travel trailers from the top manufacturers. Plus, with their integrity pricing guarantee, you'll never pay more for freight or dealer prep. There are no hidden fees in their prices ever. As a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're offering this season's game attendees $500 off the purchase of a new RV. Just show them your ticket. Visit Campers Inn RV, the RVer's trusted resource, I-10 West, exit 351, or campersinn.com today.
What do our Jags do to beat the heat? Cool down with the smooth and creamy deliciousness of a Yobi frozen yogurt. All Yobi low-fat or fat-free frozen yogurts are made with real milk, no artificial flavors, and some are as little as 25 calories per ounce. So it's easy for our guys to be game day ready. Plus, all Yobi's great toppings and fresh-cut fruit are included. So cool down like the big cats. Visit myyobi.com to find a location near you. And to see all the latest offers and tasty new flavors added every month, download the Yobi app. Yobi is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HananiahAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. The Publix Tailgate Show continues. 1 o'clock, the kickoff time for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field in Orchard Park, New York. The Rolling Stones are coming to Jacksonville as part of the No Filter U.S. Tour in 2019. The show scheduled for Wednesday, April 24th. Tickets on sale Friday, November 30th. For more, visit rollingstones.com. We go back to Buffalo. Welcome back Tony Baselli and Jeff Logman. Welcome in play-by-play man Frank Frangie for the first time. Hi, Frank. Good morning.
Good morning, and I wish you guys could have been here to see Baselli fighting to see Lagerman's notes on the fantasy. It's fantastic stuff here.
Maybe it should be the other way around.
After last week.
After last week, there's no doubt, Mike.
Domination.
Well, let's get to it. Last week, I earned the top pick in this week's draft because it's a good object lesson. Never draft a Tennessee Titan. I took Marcus Mariota, and before he went out hurt, he didn't do a whole lot. So I ended up with 37 on the week, low score of the week. Frank and Jeff, not too far ahead with 45 apiece. Frank gets the booby prize for having Carson Wentz actually have less points than Marcus Mariota last week. JP did very solid.
Thank you.
63 points, had Phillip Rivers, Kareem Hunt, and Michael Thomas, but it was Tony Baselli making a run with Drew Brees, Saquon Barkley, and Adam Thielen. 82 for Big Bo. Wow. Has him in third place overall.
JP!
Here we go. All right, here's what we got. Jeff's alone at the top, 683. I'm still hanging on to second with 600. Tony has moved up to 579. Two points ahead of JP.
2 points.
2 points.
Neck and neck.
And Frank bringing up the rear right now at 508. Based on the fact that Jeff selected after Frank last week, the draft order is this. It's me, Jeff, Frank, JP, and then Tony gets the last pick. So I'm going to start things off with Andrew Luck today.
That was one of my guys.
And we go to Jeff.
I will take Kirk Cousins.
Okay, Cousins off the board. Frank?
Let me have Odell Beckham Jr. please.
Odell Beckham Jr. Surprised that Jeff didn't jump on him. Great matchup. Philly is missing like all their cornerbacks today. They're playing a bunch of street guys. JP.
T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton. I'm going to go with the hookup. I hope Hilton brings you many points.
I do too.
Tony, back-to-back points on the good end here.
I'm going to go Keenan Allen.
Okay.
And let's go Cam Newton against that Seattle defense at home. They need a win.
Cam Newton, back to JP.
I was going to pick Cam until Tony got me. Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. Frank Frangie.
How about Christian McCaffrey?
Christian McCaffrey. All right. He is locked in for you. Jeff?
I will take Adam Thielen. I'm going double down with Minnesota.
You are. It's all root for Stephon Diggs. I'm going to go with Nick Chubb at running back this week.
Good pick. I like that one.
Thank you. And then I'm going to go off the board. I'm going to go with a tight end this week with their top couple receivers out. I'm taking George Kittle of the 49ers versus Tampa Bay.
That's not a good pick.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
Expert Tony Baselli.
We'll find out.
Well, I mean, I'm in first place this week.
George Kittle. All right. We'll see. Jeff, you've got a running back pick here.
I will take Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette. Frank, need a quarterback.
How about Deshaun Watson?
Watson on Monday Night Football. JP, need a running back here?
Joe Mixon.
Mixon it is, and Tony needs a running back.
I'm gonna go with an undrafted rookie free agent named Philip Lindsay, the Denver Broncos.
Lindsay versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, here are the teams. I've got Andrew Luck, Nick Chubb, and George Kittle. Jeff has Kirk Cousins, Leonard Fournette, and Adam Thielen. Frank went with Deshaun Watson, Christian McCaffrey, and Odell Beckham Jr. Carson Wentz, Joe Mixon, and T.Y. Hilton for JP. And Tony has Cam Newton, Philip Lindsay, and Keenan Allen. Good luck, gentlemen.
Well, yeah, Tony's going to need it this week. Even though he won.
He's in a catbird seat right now.
For now.
You know, the problem for Tony is, who knows? You may catch me, JP. I may slide down, and you may still finish in the top three.
That's a good point.
Ahead of me and Frank.
Let's continue now our visit with Frank Frangie. Time for the Frangie File. We visit longer with Jaguars play-by-play man Frank Frangie in Buffalo. So, Frank, I asked those guys for a wing count, and they said they went to an Italian restaurant. Do you have a wing count, sir?
I ate 10, then ordered 5 more because I was still hungry. So I had 15 wings at Sideline Sports. Didn't go to Duff's or Anchor Bar. I've done those. I had a little place called Sideline Sports. Johnny O and I slipped over there and had about 15 wings and did just fine. Great wings up here, by the way. Spicy. Little spice to them, JP.
They better have great wings.
Yeah, I mean, it's Buffalo, for goodness sakes.
I mean, that's my 3rd wing place in Buffalo. They've all been pretty doggone good. Good as advertised.
I would think so. 6 in a row now.
Yeah.
Whoever would have thought it would have come to this, Frank? It's hard to imagine, right? I mean, how do you work out of this thing, man?
And you know what? And JP, I think I was thinking about this today. That's almost kind of the story more than how they're playing is how do you get out of the funk, right? Last week, they've had 2 or 3 games. The end of the Colts game, I said this, when Rashad Green fumbled. That was a game that last year they would have won because last year he wouldn't have fumbled, and they'd have thrown a touchdown in the corner of the end zone because that's how it was going. And football and sports are like that. That momentum thing's real. When things are going well, they keep going well, and when they're not, they don't. Same thing last week. What are the chances of blowing a lead like that? It's just it's so improbable. So right now it's about getting out of the funk. I don't know how you get out of the funk. You're playing a team that's struggling also, has lost 4 in a row also, so maybe that's how you do it. But it's been a weird journey, JP. You're right, man. It's been a 6 in a row. I never would have seen that. I don't think any of us would have.
Frank, I question, I guess I will see the motivation on the defensive side today if it'll be at the fever pitch it was against Pittsburgh. I think they put a lot of eggs into that basket. I think Buffalo's got a lot of reason to be up for the game. Do you sense just in your brief time up there that they're looking at this as kind of a get back at the Jags for what happened in the playoffs game?
Not quite that, Mike, but I do think Buffalo's a team that believe they have a decent team, but they knew they were going to step back. Just talking to John Murphy, the play-by-play guy, a minute ago before I came on here. They knew they were going to take a step back because they were changing quarterbacks. And any team that changes quarterbacks isn't quite sure what they're going to have. But they're surprised, too. Remember, these 2 teams played at a playoff game last year. I mean, they both were in the playoffs, and now they're both staring at 3-7 and a bunch of losses in a row. So they both look at the other guy and say, okay, this is a game we can win. So I don't sense revenge as much. I do sense they're very intrigued to see what Josh Allen can do. They played very well the last time out, even though without him. So I think that's it. As for motivation for Jacksonville, Mike, here's the deal. Look, we've seen a lot of games with these Jags since I've been calling the games, and we've all, you, Rick, and I have been involved in these broadcasts. In these 5 years, Mike, we've seen a lot of games where there wasn't much to play for because you were sort of eliminated, but you had to keep playing. Now, this is the first time this group's had to go through this after last year having so much to play for. So they've got to find some self-motivation, those guys do, and it'll be interesting to see the way that goes. I know they're not mathematically eliminated, but I think after last week, if you're a realist, you feel like the playoffs are probably not happening. You might have believed it before last week. So what kind of motivation can these guys find individually? I think that's a big part of this.
Frank, what is a positive final 6 weeks of this season for Blake Bortles? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question, JP. I think he's got to make the easy throws. I think there can't be missed opportunities. Number one, wins. Quarterbacks are always measured on wins. You know that. Even if they don't play well, they're measured on wins. So wins, 4-2. Maybe, right? 4-2 down the stretch for a team that's lost all these games in a row. That's going to be a tough challenge, but I think that's it. I think make the easy throws. I don't think Blake needs to make great plays. I think when he gets criticized is when he doesn't make the easy play or makes an egregiously bad-looking play. So I think eliminate those. But wins, JP. Quarterbacks are measured on wins. That's just how it is. And I think, try and win a bunch and go into the offseason feeling good about this football team and about yourself rather than the other way.
Frank, I could ask the same question about DJ Chark, but he's not playing today. But what about first-round pick Taven Bryan? What does he need to show us to make you feel like that the pick was worthwhile?
Yeah, I think as far as show us, there's got to be a splash play. I'm not smart enough to know whether or not he's holding the line or filling the right gaps, Mike. But I do know there haven't been very many splash plays. Defensive players, offensive linemen, you want to not notice them. Well, defensive players, you want to notice them, right? I mean, I don't care what position you're playing, we want to notice defensive players. And we haven't noticed Taven very much. Now, I think part of it is I think he's the 3 technique, Mike. I don't think he's an end. He's had to play in just because of the configuration. Dwan Smoot's a guy that wasn't active for a long time. They didn't have a strong side end to back up Calais. So he's been playing in, and I'm convinced he's a 3 technique. But he's got to make splash plays. Taven Bryan has to show up. We have to notice him. I think that's the big thing.
Frank, have a great call today, and one of the oldest remaining NFL stadiums, I guess. New Era Field was the old AFL stadium in Buffalo, and certainly a unique place to watch a football game.
You know, JP, I love. We were talking about this on the bus coming up. Kansas City here, even New England a little bit. It's nice to get to some of these suburban stadiums because so many of them are right in the middle of town now. There's like homes right next to this thing, so it's a cool setting. It's an old stadium, but it's a cool setting for football. So, all right, fellas.
Enjoy it. Frank Frangie, the voice of the Jaguars, joining us from Buffalo, New York. We'll return with Jags Director of Player Development, Marcus Pollard. You mentioned, Frank mentioned visiting with John Murphy. We'll visit with John Murphy, the voice of the Buffalo Bills. That's right around the corner as well. The Jags and the Bills at 1 o'clock. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
There are lots of reasons to choose Farah and Farah.
All you have to do with Farah and Farah is pick up the phone. You get your questions answered.
Within an hour at the most, I had gotten an answer.
He was there before noon the same day I called, and that really impressed me.
They were very speedy, constant callbacks. They're all up on the technology. You know, they would text me or email me. That's incredible.
Results in individual cases are based on the unique facts of each case.
Register today at smartpharmacy.com/fly-away-sweepstakes. And you and a guest could be off on a Texas adventure, courtesy of Smart Pharmacy. Fly with the team to watch the Jags take on the Houston Texans on December 30th. You and a guest will enjoy 2 seats on the team plane, lodging at the team hotel, ground transportation, and pregame sideline passes. For a chance to win this exclusive Smart Pharmacy experience, visit smartpharmacy.com/fly-away-sweepstakes for complete details.
Brooks Rehabilitation is the official rehabilitation provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars, offering different rehabilitation services including home health. Their expert home health team provides nursing, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and medical social work in the comfort of your home. They're a Medicare and ACHC certified home care agency with stellar patient care and top quality outcomes. Call 1-844-238-0064 to schedule an appointment. License number 299993792.
Some things make a house your home. Like cozy indoor warmth that makes bare feet on a chilly day your thing. When heating with natural gas, you get faster, warmer comfort, save money, and earn a rebate up to $725. Your home. Our safe, reliable, efficient energy. Love natural gas. Find rebate details at peoplesgas.com.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hi, folks. Frank Frangie here for the best barbecue in town. That is Bono's. Head to Bono's today. 15 locations on the First Coast and 6 more at TIAA Bank Field. You see, Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want great barbecue, you want Bono's. Plenty of parking, clean family restaurants, and oh, by the way, the best barbecue you have ever had. So if you want great barbecue, head to Bono's today, the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey at the HennenyAutos.com studio in Jacksonville. It's Week 12. The Jags and the Bills coming up at 1 o'clock at New Era Field in Buffalo. Let's go back there now. Welcome in former NFL tight end and Director of Player Development and Youth Football, Marcus Pollard.
Holding it down.
Yes, you are in Buffalo.
Yes, sir.
How many times did you play in that stadium, Marcus?
Well, you got to think back. You know, when it used to be the AFC East, we were in the same division with Buffalo when I first came in the league. And then they switched it, what was it, 2000?
2002, right?
02, somewhere in there. So I played a lot of games here earlier in my career.
I bet. Yeah, and it's a unique environment. Fans are rabid, of course.
Yes, and they're outside already flipping us off, throwing snowballs, you know. And to me, that's what you get when you go into a neighborhood in which a stadium sits. You get that kind of, you're in our house, you're not going to be here disrespectful, so we're going to let you know we don't want you in town. And so they do everything they can do to get your attention, let you know they're not happy with you being in town.
Every Walmart within 10 miles is sold out of folding tables, too. I don't know.
And lighter fluid.
All of that.
Yes, and charcoal.
Right. Well, so they use the lighter fluid on the tables usually.
That's true.
They jump through them. Marcus, what do you do? You haven't been in this position. You weren't in this position very often in your career. But what do you do to find the motivation when your team has its season kind of slipping away from itself at this point?
I think what you have to do individually, you have to farm your own ground. And that's what I've been talking to our guys about. You can't look at the big picture. You have to look individually, and sometimes you have to do that even when you're playing well. You have to make sure you continue to do what you do to get yourself ready, because I think if everybody takes that approach, then collectively it works out. But if you stop doing your part, somebody else see you not doing their part, then it can go downhill really, really fast and really, really bad.
Blake Bortles taking a lot of heat, a lot of criticism, and
what else is new?
That's the story of his career, right?
Right.
How is this different? How does he bounce back in the last 6 weeks here?
To me, he's got to look inside himself and do the things that he's been doing, whatever that is. He's got to figure out what he needs to do to get better, what he needs to do to watch more film or throw the ball better, whatever it is. But only Blake can fix it. Fans, talking trash about him, or Nathaniel Hackett or his quarterback coach, nobody can fix Blake but Blake. And I think he has enough fortitude and enough strength and enough want to get that done.
He doesn't have a lot of help around him, though, right now. Yeah, that's
it's
part
tough.
of the issue, right?
That's another part of the issue. And you hate pointing to injuries and not having this guy and not having Leonard Fournette for 5 or 6 games, and you lose your number one receiver, and then you down to your 4th left tackle, and so it makes it tough. It makes it tough for play calling. It makes it tough for Blake to get comfortable and who to throw the ball to. Am I going to have enough time to throw this ball? And so there are a lot of things that come into play, and he hasn't had a lot of help, like you said. But, to me, this business is all about the next man up, and you have to find a way to have success, even when you don't have your key horses playing for you.
Oh, one of the guys they're going to lean on to help him, obviously, is Leonard Fournette, and based on the first couple weeks back, he's going to get a big workload today. What are his chances of success against a pretty good Buffalo defense?
Hopefully we can find some holes in there for Leonard. He's a tough, physical, running, powerful back, and to me, and I tell him all the time, because of him just playing running back for our team, it only doesn't just help our offense, but it helps our receiver, it helps Blake, it helps our defense, it helps our special teams, because he's such a fantastic player. When you give him the ball and he can control the pace of the game, you can get first down, then you take those play action passes and launch it downfield to Keelan Cole and the receivers, and so you give yourself an opportunity when he's on the grass. So today I look for the same thing, a lot of workload for Leonard, pounding the rock, hopefully find some seams in the run game and score some points.
Okay, let's get to the high school coach of the year. You're ready to announce a winner today, Mark.
Yes,
right?
We finally have a high school coach of the year. So Whataburger and Jacksonville Jaguars Foundation high school coach of the year is Coach Bobby Ramsey from Mandarin High School. Coach this season went 9-4. They won their district. They're currently playing in the Class 8A Final Four. He's been at Mandarin now for 2 years. He spent 9 years at Yulee before taking the reins at Mandarin. Great coach. Expect him a lot. One of the things that he said is the road to ease goes through the gutter. So if you want it easy, you're going to get muddy. So let's just go down that road. To me, what a fantastic quote and what a fantastic coach for our high school athletes.
There you have it. The high school coach of the year, and the winner, he gets what?
He's going to get another $3,000 to go along with his $1,500 that he already received to do whatever he wants to his program, get equipment, hopefully put some money down to get this state championship ring that they hopefully get. So hopefully they can have success in this playoff and do whatever they want with that money.
State championship ring would be nice.
That'd be very nice.
What would be also nice is a win in Buffalo. We're counting on you, Marcus.
Yes, sir. I'm going to do my part. Believe that. Holding it down.
There he is at New Era Field in Buffalo. Marcus Pollard, former NFL tight end, joins us each and every week. PRI Productions, the Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com and learn more. Let's get a closer look at the Buffalo Bills. We go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Bills, John Murphy. We're visiting with the voice of the Buffalo Bills today, John Murphy, ahead of this matchup of really good defenses. Murph, how are you?
I'm doing well, JP. Good to be with you.
Yeah, a rematch, of the AFC wildcard playoff a year ago here in Jacksonville. And you know what? It kind of feels the same way going into it. It might be a low-scoring affair today.
Yeah, it does. It's funny. I was thinking about that the other day, how that game was so forgettable for the Bills, obviously, because they lost and only scored 3 points. And I would imagine, based on what happened in the ensuing couple of weeks for Jacksonville, that was probably the most forgettable of their playoff run last year, their games in the playoffs. It just nothing happened in that game. Nothing happened at all for the Bills. But you're right. Both they're good defensive teams. They were playing good defense going into that game last January, and they're still playing good defense now. That'll probably set the tone for what to expect in this one.
Bills have the number 4 overall defense in the league in terms of yardage, but 19th in points per game allowed. Where's the discrepancy there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think a lot of it has to do with some of the games they played. They've been blown out several times this year, and it hasn't been pretty. But they've had some games this year where they just, the score got away with them. Starting right with the opening game of the year when they lost horribly to the Baltimore Ravens, and there were a couple of other occasions when the score just got out of control. They were shut out at Green Bay. They had a couple of tough losses, a tough one at Indianapolis, and I think that's where the discrepancy comes from, for the most part, the difference between the yards given up and the points allowed. We know they can play good defense, but there have been a couple of games that have just got out of hand for them, and that I think is where that shows up.
John Murphy, voice of the Buffalo Bills, with us. There are moments, though, where the Bills have shown some signs of life this year. That win early in the season in Minnesota, Josh Allen's running all over the place. They found a way against Tennessee, a late field goal with no time left to win it. And then last time out before the bye week, you blasted the Jets. So what are some of the things that happen in all of those games to make that?
Yeah, and the three wins, they've all been kind of different. The Week 3 win at Minnesota, they took advantage of some early takeaways. He got great field position. Josh Allen was in his second NFL start. He made a couple of big plays, ran well, and threw it pretty well. But mostly that was field position based on some takeaways they got. They've been starved for takeaways most of the rest of the season. The game against Tennessee was just kind of an ugly, slug-it-out affair, and they managed to get in position for that game-winning field goal. And then their last game, right before their bye week last week, they go to New York on a 4-game losing streak. Look, I'm not saying I didn't think they could win, but I never thought they could put up 41 points. They went into that game averaging about 10 or 11 points per game, and they scored 41. They had long drives. They got a couple of takeaways, but mostly it was just really efficient offense, and the offense was run by Matt Barkley, who had just arrived on the scene about a week and a half before. So all 3 wins, and there's only 3. They've all been sort of different scenarios for each one of them. I wish I could tell you there was a template for a Buffalo Bills victory this year, but unfortunately they don't have enough to say that.
You mentioned Barkley last time out. That was the latest of the quarterback carousel with Josh Allen off to the side there. And I guess the hope in Buffalo is that carousel is done now, and it's Allen's the rest of the way. What do you want to see from Allen the rest of the season?
Yeah, really good question. I've been debating about that all week with different people, and even among, on my own, just trying to think, what are we looking for? I think the Bills know in this game this week against Jacksonville, they're going against a premier, almost elite level defense. So to have high expectations for Josh in this game, I think might be a little misguided. But we've seen so far that he's a really good athlete. He runs the ball extremely well. He's got as strong an arm as you'll see in the NFL. But I think what you're looking for is kind of poise and command of the offense, maybe a little bit deeper understanding of the nuances of the offensive playbook. I think you're looking for quicker decision-making in terms of throwing the football. When he got hurt 5 weeks ago in a game at Houston, he'd spent maybe a couple of games before that just having a tough time making the decision to pull the trigger, and it cost him. He started taking a lot of sacks. He started making some bad decisions. He needs to trust what he sees and just let it rip, because he's got the arm to get the ball wherever it needs to be. So those are the kind of things they're looking for. Maybe a couple of signs that, he has a better handle and grip on what they're asking him to do offensively, and maybe just a different approach as far as getting rid of the ball, taking chances, flinging it downfield. I think he has the ability to do it. It's just a question of getting enough reps so he feels comfortable doing it.
Got a second-year head coach, got a rookie quarterback and all that. Is this the duo the Bills feel they can be comfortable with for years to come?
Yeah, they're leaning on it. They're hoping that's the case, right? That's the combination people are looking for, the coach-quarterback combination. I think Sean McDermott has demonstrated over the last more than a year and a half now that he has the right stuff to be a long-term outstanding head coach in the league. He is a expert on defense, and the defense has been good this year once they put some resources into it. But I think, moreover, his defensive expertise, I think the way he runs the whole team is pretty impressive. I mean, he's got a definite thought in mind as the type of player he wants and the type of players he wants on this roster. And they're not afraid to, trade away some talent to get the right makeup, to get the right chemistry going here. And McDermott has the wherewithal to do that. He's certainly got the extreme confidence of his bosses and the ownership in particular. And I think the hope is he'll be here a long time to do it. It's hard to say that yet about Josh Allen because, this game will be his 6th NFL start. He's shown that he's got the raw material to be a success at the position, but there's a lot more to it than that. But if I'm sure they're going to stick with Josh for at least this year and next and maybe longer, and hopefully that they see some positive signs that he's going to get better and grow into the franchise quarterback that this franchise has been looking for since Jim Kelly left a long time ago.
One of the best in the business, John Murphy, voice of the Buffalo Bills, with us. Always great to speak with you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
There's John Murphy, the voice of the Buffalo Bills, and, it's a different kind of year. Sean McDermott got the playoffs his first year last year. They've got a new quarterback up there. They've lost some football games. There's the feel that the 3-7 there is a little different feeling 3-7 than here because of the expectations. Jaguars had gone to the AFC title game and this and that, and it's still 3-7. It's not great, but there's something building in Buffalo. At least they feel that way.
They think they have a pretty good defense. They have made comments to the effect that they're keeping LaShawn McCoy around for the next few years because they think he's a key to helping them win football games. The big loss for them is the fact that Josh Allen got hurt this year. If you're going to commit and go with the rookie quarterback, you want him to take as many lumps as he possibly can take. He's only played, I think, in 5 games to this point. So, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, not a very big sample size for him. He's had a few flash moments, but that's all they've been, JP. So these last 6 games, last month and a half of the season, very important in his evaluation going forward.
You want him to take the lumps on the field, not physically.
Correct, right. I mean, you're right. You want to take, just make the bad reads, do the things.
Get it out of the way.
Typical rookie stuff that you've got to get past.
All right, so Jags and Bills coming up. 1 o'clock, the kickoff time at New Era Field. We'll come back in a moment. Top headlines of the week. David Lamb is not far away as well. He's in studio today. The Jags and the Bills coming up at 1 o'clock in Buffalo. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we were.
This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway,
he scores!
This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Did you hear? The last 2 years, the Jaguars returned a punt for a touchdown, earning local families $100,000 towards a Dreamfinders home. Lauren Brooks here, letting you know that could be you this season. Visit any Dreamfinders Homes model and register to win the Take It to the House promotion for your chance at scoring $100,000 towards your Dreamfinders home. Dreamfinders Homes, homes built to fit your lifestyle.
When you look around, you might feel pride is in short supply these days. Everything's being disrupted. But Ford has been around for 115 years, and we know the only constant is change. So, disruption, yeah, it's what we do every day. You see, we still take pride in what we build and how we build. We even take pride in taking pride. And the world could use more of that right now. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, why do it at all? Build Ford proud.
Be the MVP of your next tailgate with the official wing of the Jacksonville Jaguars from Dick's Wings and Grill. Whether at the stadium or cheering from home, game day every day with Dick's 365 wing varieties, burgers, wraps, and more. And for somewhere to catch all the sports action, Dick's Wings and Grill's 23 area locations have been a local fan favorite for more than 20 years. For the best wings, ice-cold craft beer, and best fans, feed where the big cats feast. Visit DicksWingsAndGrill.com for a location nearest you. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, so we're here to see who's going to go for the win. First off, Molly took it to the next level with the chairs and the coolers.
Here comes Emma, bringing it with those killer boots and that portable grill. Oh my, I think she's going for it.
Mom, I think the hot dogs are on fire.
Hold on, honey. Ladies, where did you go to get ready for the game?
Steinmart.
Visit any one of our 6 locations in Jacksonville for all your tailgating needs as we proudly support the Jaguars this season. Steinmart. Saving is a beautiful thing.
Jaguars owner Shad Khan on creating the best customer experience.
Game day is special, and when the Jags take the field, we want every fan to have the best game day possible. That's why we partnered with Dailies. They even have 3 locations in the stadium. They know what makes for a great customer experience. From the kickoff kit program to the way they treat our fans at the game, it's like they say it's nicer here. I can't think of a better game day partner. I also happen to like their coffee.
To experience what Shad is talking about, visit a Dailies at TIAA Bank Field or any of our 29 Jacksonville locations.
I'm Tony Smith with your 1010XL local sports update. The 11th ranked Florida Gators snapped their 5-game losing streak to the rival Florida State Seminoles with a dominating 41-14 win yesterday. With the win, Florida State's bowl streak comes to an end, with the Noles finishing the season at 5-7. The Gators held the FSU offense to just 291 total yards, allowed them to convert just one of 14 third down attempts. The Gators cap off their season at 9-3 and are in line for a New Year's Day bowl. There will finally be some change with the college football playoff rankings, as 4th-ranked Michigan got hammered by number 10 Ohio State 62-39. Number 3 Notre Dame was tested by USC but came out on top 24-17 to finish the season 12-0 and likely lock up a playoff spot. 5th-ranked Georgia will likely be moving into the number 4 spot this week before their matchup in the SEC title game next Saturday against number 1 and 12-0 Alabama. Let the debate begin about who would take that number 4 spot if Alabama were to beat Georgia and both Ohio State and Oklahoma were to win their conference title games next week. I'm Tony Smith. This has been your 1010XL local sports update. More of the Publix Tailgate Show with JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey coming up next.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
Second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show underway. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HananiahAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field. 1 o'clock kickoff time for the Jags and the Bills at New Era Field in Orchard Park, New York. A rematch of the AFC Wild Card Playoff here at TIAA Bank Field. The Jags won that game 10-3. You get a feeling it might be a similar type of result today with these two defenses.
I think it's going way over. I picked it 13-7
Wow.
on Wednesday. Jaguars.
Wow.
Yeah. I picked the Jags to win in at least a month. So I'm not trying to homer up here. I just think that's the kind of game we're looking at today.
It is how these teams have played, at least so far, a lot of times.
Honestly, if you look at this Buffalo team, and I get it, you could say the same thing from a Bills perspective. They have a pretty good defense, and I don't think it's as good as Jacksonville's. You look at what the Jags roll out offensively. At this point, I'd rather have Blake Bortles than Josh Allen. The future may be a different story, but you got Josh Allen who hasn't played much, coming off an injury. This is his first return to action. He's got arguably the worst wide receiver core in the league in Buffalo. I know some people think that of the Jaguars, but I think at this stage I'd rather have Leonard Fournette than LaShawn McCoy. Hopefully the Jaguar defense makes me feel the same way in 5 hours from now.
That would be nice.
Yes.
Let's get to today's top stories, shall we? And Doug Marrone is headed back to Buffalo. Of course, 2 years as the head coach for the Bills. He discussed some memories of his time there, and will he expect a fan response today?
As you grow older and you get, smarter and more wisdom, I look at that experience as being a good experience for me. The people there were great, fans, organization, both owners, from Mr. Wilson to, Terry and Kim Pagula. So, for me, I go up there, and if someone pays to go into a stadium and wants to boo, that's fine. That doesn't bother me, Right now, that's what's happening at any stadium I go to.
There's head coach Doug Marrone. One way to look at it there. It's going to be a storyline, I think, the rest of the time, whenever he goes back to Buffalo, the way things ended there. But he's got other things to worry about right now, and that's the Jaguars.
Well, it's still an issue every time I speak to a Buffalo reporter or a radio guy. We have each other on the program to preview whatever the case may be. And it may not be the first question, but one of the questions is always about Doug Marrone, and it's usually with the anticipation of things aren't going well. Is Marrone in trouble? I got that one this week. Is he in trouble? Not in my opinion, not after going to the AFC title game last year. And I understand, you're 3-7, you are what your record says you are, but the cumulative of the last 2 years makes me think that won't be the case, but it's almost like they're waiting for the fall of Doug Marrone. Look, it's inevitable. Every coach eventually falls, almost every coach. So at some point in the future, the Jags will probably move on from Doug Marrone. I have no idea when that will be, and Buffalo fans will light those folding tables on fire and jump right on them in celebration.
They're eagerly anticipating that. Questions surround the quarterback position, of course, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Blake Bortles under the microscope. Offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett asked, was Blake Bortles, is he playing well enough to be the starter moving ahead?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. There's so many things going on around. It's one of those things. I'd say Blake has a lot of things that he's got to improve on. He knows that. He needs to be able to take his shots when he can. He needs to keep protecting the ball. And that's always a fine line with the quarterback because you don't want to turn the ball over a bunch, but you still want to be aggressive and take your shot. So that's something that he just has to continue to develop in.
Yeah, so the offensive coordinator at least is confident he is the guy that can start and do that the rest of the year. Now, I guess the question would be, if things continue down the rails that they're on right now and they keep losing football games and are mathematically eliminated quickly and all that, then do you look for something different and make a change? Once you make that change, it's pretty much done.
Oh, I agree, but look,
you can't unmake that.
It depends
change.
on what they want. You would have to decide as an organization that you're done with that guy as your quarterback, or else you don't make that change, because I think they've made it clear that they feel Blake is the best chance to win on a weekly basis right now. So if you're not putting him out there, one of the reasons to do it would be to avoid injury and locking in. I guess it wouldn't matter because he's under the contract. Either way, he's got the money he's got coming to him. But, I guess that would be the rationale behind it. Like, we're just done and it doesn't matter what happens at this point. I don't think it's going to happen, personally. I think he's going to ride out the season as the starting quarterback. And then I think there's a good chance that he's back here in Jacksonville next year, perhaps as the opening day starter. And, we'll debate in 6 weeks whether that's the right move or not. But my guess is we're going to see Blake Bortles, barring injuries, start the final 6 games of the year.
They could bring the whole offense back like it was at the start of this year. They were 3-1 with this offense. That's
Sure.
what they wanted to be, right?
Right. They were. But, I mean, you could make that argument if you wanted to. You could also, you can make a lot of arguments. I mean, to me, the eyeball test tells me after 4.5 years now that Blake's not a franchise quarterback, not going to be. And I think until you have one, you're always in search of one in the NFL.
Lots of offense around the league, and the Monday night track meet in L.A., that was a big storyline throughout the week. We see what the Saints can do. What does that do for defensive coordinator Todd Wash, though?
It's the rules. Some of it's the rules, but we got to find a way defensively to slow some of these teams down. And it's always a vicious cycle of offense does well, and then it turns into a defensive year and stuff like that. But there's a lot of good players in this league on the offensive side, a lot of good quarterbacks, and they're putting up points right now.
Yeah, for a defensive coordinator, though, you see 50 go up on the board a good bit. That opens your eyes a bit, and it only takes, if your offense can keep up with them, a couple of key plays here or there to make a difference in a football game like that.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Aaron Donald with a couple of strip sacks and that turned into touchdowns. So you had a touchdown defensively for the Kansas City Chiefs as well. So that you just got to change your perception of what is good defense in the National Football League these days. You're not going to see too many seasons like the Jags even had last year. It was an aberration, and you see how difficult it is to follow up on that. The days of holding teams consistently to 10 or 12 points or 14 points and 200 yards, I think it's almost impossible the way the rules are structured now. So, like you said, if you can make some big plays, Jalen made big plays.
Yes.
They were game-changing, impacting plays last week. Those are the kind of plays we're talking about. And you can have a bend but don't break defense and have it be one of the better units in the National Football League in today's day and age.
There you have it, some of today's top stories. This portion of the Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. Let's go around the National Football League Week 12, and the stretch run, I believe, officially is here since Thanksgiving is gone.
I think that's fair to say. The 49ers are not really in the stretch run, as they and the Tampa Bay Bucks are more battling for draft positioning today in Tampa. But the Niners announcing this morning they're releasing linebacker Reuben Foster. He was arrested last night at the team hotel in Tampa on suspicion of misdemeanor domestic violence battery. Foster's had multiple run-ins with the law since being drafted by the Niners, 31st overall in 2017. And additionally, he was suspended for the first 2 games of this season for violating the NFL's conduct and substance abuse policies. General Manager John Lynch of the 49ers said earlier this offseason, if we have evidence that a player of ours strikes a female, they will be gone. You'll see how quickly and how seriously we take this, and that's exactly what's happened here with Foster. Retired Arizona Cardinals head coach Bruce Arians might not be on the sideline that much longer. Actually might return to the NFL sideline. In an interview with NFL.com, Arians was asked about his coaching future, and if a return was possible, he replied, quote, "I would listen to the Browns and only them," end quote. Arians went on to cite the passion of the fan base as his primary reason for being interested in Cleveland, which is currently being helmed by interim coach Greg Williams. Injuries of note today include A.J. Green, downgraded to out this morning, so he will not suit up in the so-called Battle of Ohio with Cincinnati taking on Cleveland today. Melvin Gordon kicks off later today with the L.A. Chargers, expected to give it a go. He's questionable with a couple of different injuries. Around the AFC South, Indianapolis at 5-5, coming off a win over the Jags, hosts the Miami Dolphins, also at 5-5, and firmly both teams in the wild card picture in the AFC. Tennessee, likewise 5-5, will travel to Houston on Monday night to take on the 7-3 Texans, whose owner Bob McNair passed away on Friday at the age of 81. McNair owned the franchise since its inception in 2002, and condolences go out to his wife Janice and the entire McNair family. The Texans have won 7 in a row and are currently 2 games clear in the AFC South.
We have a look around the National Football League. McNair passed away. We've had a number of owners over the last couple of years pass away. A lot of the older groups starting to go away now.
No matter how much money you have, JP, it doesn't matter. The best health care in the world can't keep you alive forever. Yep. So Bob McNair, 81 years old, has gone off to the great beyond.
It's interesting, though, what that means for the future of the league. If when changes like that happen, and a lot of them happen at one time, that means new faces in the ownership meeting rooms and everything.
It does. They come in, though, with less seniority, less influence and sway and all that. I think Houston being one of the top 5 markets size-wise in the United States, there's no question about the viability of their franchise long-term, anything like that. So just a changing of the guard and a passing of the torch there.
There you have it. We'll come back in a moment. David Lamb is on deck with Lamb at large. We'll hear from Special Teams Coordinator Joe DeCamillis a little bit later. And we're about 20 minutes away from the announcement of the inactives for today's game. The Jaguars and the Bills at 1 o'clock in Buffalo and from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Radio.
Hey Jaguars fans, are you ready to talk some trash? Well, nobody talks trash quite like Waste Pro, the official waste service and recycling partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Specializing in residential and commercial solid waste and recycling collection, processing, and disposal, Waste Pro is equipped to handle all your recycling and garbage removal needs. For service, call 904-731-7288. Waste Pro, caring for communities and caring for Jacksonville.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Every 51 minutes, someone dies in a drunk driving crash. If you think it can't happen to you or that your actions won't affect others, think again. I got behind the wheel drunk and caused a crash that took the lives of 2 young women. Before you drink, have a plan and know all your options. One bad decision can last forever. Take it from me, Eric, prison inmate P22679.
This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
The First Coast will see green when the Jacksonville Jaguars take the field this season, thanks to SunPass. For every regular season first down recorded by the Jaguars in 2018, SunPass will make a donation toward the planting of new trees in Jacksonville. A run by Leonard Fournette, a pass from Blake Bortles, every first down turns over a new leaf right here in Northeast Florida. Visit jaguars.com/trees to learn more about First Downs for Trees, presented by SunPass. Get ready to go green, Jags fans. #JagsPlantTrees. In football, adding a key player at the right position could be huge for any team. The same thing is true in the business world, and nobody knows that better than Web.com. Not only are they a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're the key marketing player to hundreds of businesses right here in Jacksonville. Visit Web.com to get a free review of your website and online marketing. It's like getting a key player to try out for your business for free. Just visit Web.com to get your free review.
Looking for a more comfortable way to camp or tailgate at Jags games? Visit Campers Inn RV for their integrity pricing guarantee. With their open and honest buying process, you'll never pay more for freight or dealer prep. There are no hidden fees in their prices ever. And as a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they want to thank you for your support. That's why they're offering this season's game attendees $500 off the purchase of a new RV. Just show them your ticket. So visit Campers Inn RV, the RVer's trusted resource, I-10 West, exit 351, or campersinn.com today.
JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HannahneAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field. It's Week 12. The Jags and the Bills coming up at 1 o'clock at New Era Field in Orchard Park, New York. Jaguars Radio Network coverage starts at noon with countdown to kickoff, and we'll take you all the way to the opening kick as always. Each week we visit with the guru, David Lamb. He's in studio yet again with Lamb at Large.
You know, I'd give a couple of fingers to have that J.P. Shadrick voice. And now, David Lamb.
Whose fingers?
No, I'd give up
your own.
One of mine, but probably a pinky finger. I'm not going to give up a thumb.
Important.
You sound good, but I'm not giving up a thumb for you, JP.
Thanks.
All right, hey, it's another football Sunday. It's great to be here. You've probably noticed that I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm not quite as spry as I used to be. I point that out because I want to set this up. You know, I'm not hanging around the stadium throughout the week like I did for many, many years with the Jaguars, and not all over the place. I come to home games, and I do make sure I get in the locker room after home games. I want to keep a touch with the players, but in the locker room, I still sort of have to mosey around, and I stay away from the gaggle of reporters. I try to pick out players sitting by themselves, and I'll hobble over and just try to start a conversation. And most of them are receptive because, first of all, they look at me now, this old guy with a cane and a cigar, he's almost like a character, so they'll talk to me. Well, I've been able to develop a rapport with several players, and I think they trust me, and good reason, because they can trust me. And, okay, I've set the stage now. After last week's loss, and in the locker room, they were devastated in there. You know, I'm talking to several players, and again, in a conversational mode, and it's like, boy, not throwing in the towel. I don't know, you know, why, how do you keep from doing it? Well, you know, I had several of them, particularly one of them said, money! It's the money. Now, we say that, I've heard that said a lot, but rarely have had a player look me right in the eye and say, money! We don't quit because of the money. We like this job. We don't want to, not have it. We don't want to do something to hurt a bigger contract down the road. We play hard because of money. Every play's on film. We don't want somebody to see us loafing or quitting or whatever. We play hard because of the money. Well, the next obvious question is then what the hell else is wrong? If this team isn't laying down, what's wrong? And we all know the answer to that. The answer is a lot of things. But in the NFL, it starts with the quarterback. If you don't have the quarterback in the NFL with today's rules and everything else, you're not going to be a successful NFL team. And so the question comes up, does this locker room trust Blake Bortles? Well, they're all going to say yes on the record. But, and I say this isn't speculation. This is fact. I mean, there's a handful of them made it perfectly clear to me that, no, they don't trust their quarterback. They simply don't trust him. They've seen him play badly too much. And, and as one said, he said, we can't help not thinking that because it keeps happening. We want to trust him, But, and all anonymous. That said, I wouldn't be surprised if Blake Bortles doesn't play today, never takes another snap. I don't expect that to happen. But I'm telling you, if you don't trust your quarterback and he's not playing very well, why would you put him out there? No matter who else you put out there, would have to be as good. How much worse could it be? What are you going to do, lose a 7th straight game because you put somebody else out there? You got to put somebody out there that you've got a smidgen of trust in, that he can make a play on 3rd and 5, or he could just make a play. He can get you out of a bad play into a good play. We're not looking for an elite quarterback who makes those game-winning plays, the fourth-quarter drives. Right now, the Jaguars just need a quarterback who can make more of the simple, basic plays than not, and that's not what they're getting. And so this team is a mess. And I don't know that the mess will ever get straightened out until they just go into another quarterback direction. This is Blake's 5th year. That's plenty of time. It's not like he didn't get a chance. They drafted him high. Well, 5 years is enough time to find out that, okay, it wasn't the wisest draft choice we've ever made. So I think we could see some real changes this last part of the season, particularly at quarterback, just trying to see, is there a spark? Or give us the clear sign we've got to go into a different direction. Draft a quarterback in the first round. I heard somebody that I trust say, hell, draft one in the first round this year, and if it doesn't work, draft one in the first round next year. Find a quarterback. That's what they've got to do at this situation. None of the other problems will get rectified until they can get a quarterback who can make some plays and the team can trust.
There you have it, David Lamb with Lamb at Large. And I still think you're pretty spry, Dave. I mean, going back to your open.
Well, listen, I was timed in the 40 the other day, and I did it in an hour and 22 minutes. I was moving pretty good.
Nice.
I fell down once, so that caused the time to go down.
Look, I think, Dave, the question is, can it get worse? Some people say, well, it can't be any worse than this. And it can get worse. There's no reason to think that they trust Cody Kessler right now any more than they trust Blake Bortles. I would be fine going that direction because I think you reach a point where you say, you know what, it's just not working, and you've got to try something even if you're not convinced it's a better alternative.
Right, that's my point.
Right, but I do think that coaches who want to win every single game every week, it's tough for them to get to that point when they say, well, do we think Blake, for all his issues, gives us the best chance to win this week? If the answer is yes, hard not to run him out there week after week after week.
Well, to your point, I think to make this decision to do what I'm talking about doing, you've got to have ownership, administration on your side. You've got to go to them and say, listen, this is what we're going to do. Now, are you going to be behind me on this? Because we're trying to see if we can find something that'll work, or at least start guaranteeing what we're going to do in the future. But we can't do this. If you're behind me, I do it. If you're not behind me, then Mike's right. Hell, I'm going to put the Blake back out there if I think he gives me a better chance to win, because I want to look at my win-loss record when I'm looking for my next job.
That's right.
There's just no long-term benefit, in my opinion, to playing Cody Kessler. Like, I don't think Cody Kessler helps the young receivers develop anymore and things like that. I do think I would play him because he's more accurate. It's that simple. But in terms of, like, the long-term benefit of playing him, I don't know if there is one. Because I don't think he's the quarterback of the future under any circumstance here.
Well, my whole take has nothing to do with Kessler. It's whoever the next guy is. Just give him a shot.
Well, he's the next guy.
He happens to be the next guy.
It doesn't matter who it is. So it's not about Cody Kessler. Just give the next guy a shot and see. And just see if there's a spark.
Well, in that case, maybe it is about Cody Kessler. If he was that good, he might already be in there.
I understand that. And I don't think he's necessarily better than Blake. But I don't think the situation is going to get a lot worse for the rest of this season. And what happens if you struck lightning, found lightning in a jar? Who knows? We've had stranger stories. And if you didn't find, then you still go with the same plan you had the moment you bench Blake.
I think it's much more likely Blake starts every game than he doesn't start any single game the rest of the way. That's my opinion.
I think you're right. Yeah. And I said I think there's a chance. I don't think it will happen, though. But I'd love to see.
By the way, that smart guy thought when it comes to those draft picks, I'm gonna have to meet him. The guy who said maybe draft one this year, and then if he doesn't work out, take one the following year.
Okay, it was Mike Dempsey. I heard say that.
Well, joking with
No,
you.
and I tried to give it credit without naming you because I didn't know whether you wanted
not
to.
how
you
it
say
works
smart.
for him.
You say smart guy. Nobody's going to think I'm the one who said that.
Okay, but I didn't want to say something and give you credit for it that you might not want out there.
I understand, and I appreciate you.
I was trying to cover your base, but use
It's
your
okay.
intellect.
That's how I feel about it. I'm at that point.
Okay.
Doesn't mean the organization will be, but that's where I'm at.
Boy, I'd like to go play 18 right now, but I can't stand up. So
well, in that case,
I'll go sit down and watch the Jaguars.
Enjoy, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
David Lamb at large. Head coach Doug Marrone was asked if the season derailed when the offensive injuries started creeping up. Well, earlier this week, he wouldn't go there especially, but he gave us some insight to his mindset as the leader of this team moving ahead the last 6 weeks.
It's always tough. I mean, I'm the head coach, so I'm not going to go there. You know, my job is to win games. Injuries are part of it, as drastic as it may be. I'm not going to be that guy. You know, honestly, I've got to do a better job. I've said it before. I'm going to take responsibility for what I have to do, and at the end of the day, I can live with that. You know, rather than trying to come out because not only are you a head coach. And I say this all the time because it's obviously a tough time for, my family. But I also want to be a great example for my family. That, hey, listen, you put in a leadership role, you have to take responsibility. It's very easy to look at and point fingers or say things and make excuses. But, the best part about being a head coach is the job is so clearly defined, more than any other job, in an organization. And it's just defined by winning games. That's it, And when you're not doing your job. And when you do, you've done a good job. But don't sit there too long and gloat. You got to get on to the next one because you got to keep playing. So a lot of times in situations like this, I'm encouraged to be a good leader. Find the answers, find the solutions. A lot of times for me personally, because I want to make sure that I'm a good example for my children, and so when they get into tough times, they know how to handle it. And I think you guys understand that you have to be like that with your team, or else everything comes down. But when you look what the inspiration is for me, that's what it is.
There's head coach Doug Marrone. Long answer to a short question.
He's a thoughtful guy, man.
He is.
I appreciate the way he handles press conferences. I really do. I think he gives some of the most thoughtful. He doesn't just give you just a coach speak answer most of the time. He really tells you what he thinks about a subject, and I appreciate that. Now, look, I get that from the coach's perspective. I could also see behind closed doors, JP, why they may decide to carry on with Blake Bortles into 2019, because you can make the argument, hey, look, guy played with 4 different left tackles this year. Linder getting beat up, hasn't had Leonard Fournette most of the year, lost his prospective number 1 wide receiver, his top few tight ends, and none of the young receivers seem to develop at the pace that they expected them to. So if you want to make that argument's there to be made, and it'll be interesting to see if the Jaguars do use that. I'm not saying there isn't some validity to it. You have that many injuries, it's got to impact you no matter how good your talent is on that side of the football. I don't think that's the only issue. It may be the biggest one, but I think the quarterback's been an issue for a while, regardless.
I think the question is going to be in the offseason, if they're going to change philosophy and doing all that, then you're asking bigger questions of who's going to change that philosophy.
Well, do you have to change philosophy? Does changing quarterbacks change your philosophy?
Could be. It could.
But does it have to? I mean, just because, let's say you go out and draft a quarterback in the first round this year. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't run the football with Leonard Fournette, right? It doesn't mean you can't be a physical team, particularly to protect a young guy. Maybe you go out there and try to find him a number 1 wide receiver, wouldn't hurt either. But I think this team is still going to be predicated on defense in the running game, no matter who is at the helm next year. At least next year, there are no Drew Brees type free agents that are going to roll in and revolutionize this passing game.
Right.
Or Kirk Cousins, for that matter.
Draft 2 drafts worth of wide receivers, and
and then how long does it take them to develop? And by that time, it's a vicious cycle.
It is, as Todd Wash said earlier. We'll come back in a moment. We'll hear from special teams coordinator Joe DeCamillis. The inactives are due as well. The Jags and the Buffalo Bills, a pair of 3-7 teams going at it today at 1 o'clock in Week 12. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
You know, our Jimmy John's new 9-grain wheat sub has the perfect amount of grains.
Freak, yeah, it does. Any less it'd be grain lacking. Any more it'd be obnoxious.
9 grains. It's just so confident. I mean, it says I'm high quality, I'm substantial, I'm flavorful, but I don't have to prove myself to anyone.
This 9-grain wheat sub is practically an inspirational poster.
I want to possess the character and depth of this 9-grain wheat sub.
You guys talking about being that 9-grain wheat sub again?
Try our new 9-grain wheat sub, Jimmy John's. Wheat yeah, freak yeah.
Technology today is always changing, but one thing has remained consistent for the past decade in Jacksonville. CSI Tech is your partner for finding the top IT talent in Northeast Florida. Across the full spectrum of IT positions, CSI Tech can find the right fit for you. And with their award-winning People Done Right philosophy, you can feel confident in the results. Call CSI Tech at 800-582-0828 or go to peopledoneright.com and partner with CSI Tech, part of the CSI companies and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to tap into their inner eagle and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight.
Liftoff.
When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So fly over the radar. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm as happy as a clam.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will be, quote, as happy as a clam, unquote. The Geico legal team cannot accurately verify clams even experience the complex human emotional state known as happiness. As an invertebrate mollusk living half submerged on the ocean floor, with no arms, legs, or wireless access, what's there to be happy about? A clam's all like, oh, I'm so happy I didn't get turned into New England clam chowder today, pronounced regionally as chowder. Chowder. Oh, that's so fun to say. What were we talking about again?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
I'm Tony Smith with your 1010XL local sports update. The 11th-ranked Florida Gators snapped their 5-game losing streak to the rival Florida State Seminoles with a dominating 41-14 win. With that win, Florida State's bowl streak comes to an end, and the Noles finished the season at 5-7. The Gators held the FSU offense to just 291 total yards, allowing them to convert just one of 14 third-down attempts. The Gators cap off their year at 9-3. And are in line for a New Year's Day bowl. There will finally be some change with the college football playoff rankings as 4th-ranked Michigan got hammered by number 10 Ohio State 62-39. Number 3 Notre Dame was tested by USC but came out on top 24-17 to finish the year at 12-0 and likely lock up a spot in the playoff. 5th-ranked Georgia will likely be moving into that number 4 spot this week before their matchup in the SEC title game next Saturday against number 1 and 12-0 Alabama. And let the debate really begin about who would take that number 4 spot if Alabama were to beat Georgia and both Ohio State and Oklahoma were to win their conference titles next week. One more week of potential chaos before the field is set. I'm Tony Smith. This has been your 1010XL local sports update. More of the Publix Tailgate Show with JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey coming up next.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
We're back. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HananiaAutos.com studio. TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. Week 12, the Jags and the Bills at 1 o'clock in Orchard Park, New York. The inactives have come down, and some notable ones for the Jaguars today. DJ Chark Jr., the rookie wide receiver, was ruled out on Friday. He is inactive, of course. Dave Williams, running back, inactive. Quentin Meeks, the corner, inactive yet again. Laurenti McCray, special teams captain. The defensive end by trade is inactive today again. Josh Walker, offensive line, inactive. Corey Robinson on the offensive line, inactive. And defensive tackle Marcel Darius, inactive. Going back to Buffalo. He was excited about it this week. We had him on a show on Jaguars.com this week, just ready to go, and he's not going to go. He's not going to play in this game today. Not on that list, though, A.J. Cann. That's the good news. He was questionable to play. The right guard will play in today's game. Some other changes. Eric Flowers, yes, the left tackle, will start in place of Josh Walker. Avery Jones at nose tackle in place of Marcel Darius. So notable ones today for the Jaguars. Certainly Darius.
Yeah, Darius is a big one, and, obviously he had every motivation extra to be out there today, so obviously the injury is something significant, at least enough to keep him sidelined today. For Buffalo, the guys not suiting up include quarterback Derek Anderson. He is out today. Vladimir DeCosse on the offensive line, along with Ike Butker, a pair of guards. Connor McDermott, a backup tackle. Charles Clay, their tight end's been out for a while now. He's not suiting up today, nor is wide receiver Ray McLeod or cornerback Ryan Lewis.
All right, there you have it. The inactives are in for the Jags and the Buffalo Bills. Let's visit with special teams coordinator Joe DeCamillis, a guy who's been around the league for 25 years. Spent a couple years in Jacksonville in the mid-2000s, and now he's back for his second season with the Jaguars again, a second stint here. And it's a unit we asked him this week about working with specialists. Lambeau's kicking the ball very well. He's got a rookie punter. The coverage teams, we do discuss DJ Chark, who is inactive for this game, but always fun to sit down with special teams coordinator Joe DeCamillis. The conversation presented by Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good. There's a lot of football left, though, for this football team. What's the feeling like on the coach's side, just trying to get out of this thing right now?
Yeah, I think everybody's trying to push their way out of it. I was telling some of the players today, I've been in this thing for 30 years, and unfortunately this has happened to me before. We were 3-0 with the Giants, and I think it was 94. We were 3-0. We were 0-7, and then we went 6-0. So it can be done. So hopefully, that gives them some confidence going in. But, you just got to – I thought they played hard this past week, and I don't think that's been an issue. Just have to play as smart as possible and make the plays when we need them.
That's the trick, keeping the guys into it. Now, you start losing the players, and that can go downhill real fast.
Yeah, but I think if you do that, you got the wrong guys. Okay. I think that you've got to demand of them. You've got to give them the same energy and even more energy. They need you when times are down, and you need to give them as much energy as you can.
Let's talk about your specialists here. Lambeau, locked in still, man. It's hard to describe anything that he's done poorly this year. The guy's kicking the ball so well right now.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I'm happy for the kid. Hopefully it gives him a chance to elongate his career. That's what I'm hoping for him. But also I hope he wins some games for us, and he's done a good job as far as his field goals and his kickoffs, really.
Logan Cook, rookie punter. In dealing with a rookie specialist, what do you have to remember about a rookie? What is something you have to do different, maybe approaching a rookie specialist?
Well, I think you just have to. You're going to have to go through the bumps in the road with these kids as much as you can. I've had young punters before, and they're not going to be. They haven't seen everything like a vet, so the first time is big for them. They've got to experience, and they've got to get better from it. And I think he's done that. I think up to this point, I'm pleased with where he's at. The thing that was disappointing the other day was the 2 inside of 20 balls that we ended up getting touchbacks on, which he's been extremely good at. So, those were the disappointing ones. But then, the one right before the half when he was getting all-out rush, we got rushed in that game. I think we punted 9 times. We think we got rushed 6 times that were legitimate rushes. So, he handled that well.
How about your coverage guys? A guy like DJ Chark, great speed as a receiver, but has made some really nice plays in the coverage game.
Yeah, he's bought in completely. At LSU, he did that as a young man, when he was younger, showed the return stuff on tape, but it's good to see that he's got that kind of fire in him and, how important it is to him. He's not playing probably as much as he wants on offense right now, but he's definitely picked it up for us, and I'm glad to have him, that's for sure.
He's getting a few more reps on offense, so that could take away from the special teams reps, too. That's the challenge of balancing those reps, right?
It hasn't thus far because the kid's got real good stamina. That's what you really look for is a guy that can, if he's playing 20% of the plays on offense, still gives it like he has. That's good to see.
Give us a few other guys who are standing out right now in special teams for you.
Well, I think the guy that's really improved from last year is Jared Wilson. He's really done a much better job for us, than what he did last year. I think he's gotten more physical. I'm glad to see that he's doing as well as he has. And then, I would say probably, Lorente, when he was healthy, was doing well. He was probably up there. And then Cody Davis has been solid and more than solid for the whole year.
Let's go get a win in Buffalo. Appreciate your time.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Joe DeCamillis, special teams coordinator. He's been in the league for 25 years. Got his start under Dan Reeves as like an administrative assistant type, and then was just kind of worked his way up through the National Football League. He's been a long-time special teams coordinator. Always a fun visit with Joe DeCamillis. Let's get now to our sideline reporter. Each and every week we visit with Rick Ballou, and we call it Has Rick Lost It?
Ricky don't lose that. Ricky don't lose that.
All right, here we are, Buffalo, New York, and you got to picture the scene. It's 9 a.m., parking lots packed, bonfires everywhere, houses right here by New Era Field, painted with Bills colors. It doesn't matter. Parking in their front lawns, just having a great time, drilling beers, smoking cigarettes, with no chance of sun. It's wet, it's rainy, it's cold, it's Buffalo. And these Bill fans, they don't like anyone, especially the Jacksonville Jaguars, because, of course, it was then in January when the Bills fans came rolling along the First Coast, and they took over Jacksonville. They stated that. They took over the streets, or at least they took over Old St. Augustine Road. They took over the stadium, but then again, they lost the game 10-3. So it's the first time, and just imagine this, as bad as things are now for Jaguar fans. That was the first time in 17 years that they actually made it to the playoffs. So these Bill fans are angry. They've always been angry. I grew up in Boston. I went to several of those Patriot Bills games way back when. Those fans were awful then. Now they're the Bills Mafia. And believe it or not, they actually believe that they are celebrities. Well, let's give them some credit. I guess they are in the world of the lowest common denominator. Imagine spending all week at work thinking about, are you going to be a star because you're going to go through a table on Sunday. That's what they do here in Buffalo. They're also a 3-7 football team. Today, the attention turns back to rookie Josh Allen. He gets to start, and that's great news for the Jaguars. Jalen Ramsey coming off the best game of his career. He has a chance to shut down Allen after the comments that he made about him this summer. The Jaguars also get a chance to get off the schneid while facing another rookie quarterback. Sadly, their last victory was against a rookie, that of course being Sam Darnold in the New York Jets. Despite being 3-7, the Bills are great on defense. They're first in passing and second in total defense. Once again, the Jags will be tested offensively. Today, the play calling is the difference. I said it. The Jaguars' play calling will be the difference. A couple of shots and far less predictable. The Jaguars win it 17-16. JP.
All right. Wow. A glass half full for Rick Ballou today. Hey, by the way, no snow today. I was hoping for a big, lake effect snow blizzard thing.
I was too. I thought it would have been fun to come to a place like this again. Growing up in playing football, in watching football, going to those games back in New England when the Bills would come in, and the Baltimore Colts and the Dolphins and the New York Jets. That's the way football. I learned it that way, and I circled this game on the map way back when because I knew it would be a playoff rematch. But it's nice. I mean, it's probably in the low 40s, maybe mid-40s right now with a breeze. But we're not going to get the snow today, so, yeah, that's a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, well, I say that because I'm sitting in a 72-degree studio right now. It'll be just fine on TV.
Yeah, no doubt. But it should be a lot of fun out here. This is these fans are crazy. They think they're stars, and I think the Jags get it done today, finally get off this losing streak.
It would be nice to see. Rick, have a good one today. Have a great call.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Rick Ballou, on the sidelines for the Jaguars Radio Network each and every week. It's a unique place, man. The Buffalo Bills and that stadium and that fan base, and they've been at it for a long, long time up there. And we all know what happened in the late 80s, early 90s, how close they were, 4 straight Super Bowls and all that. But they haven't found a lot of success since then.
No, I mean, they went to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years last year. So, when you think it can't get worse and you think you've struggled and suffered a lot, realize there are teams out there that are in worse circumstances than you, and nothing is guaranteed. There's no, it's your time, you're due. You've got to make the right moves. And, I mean, there are teams that have, languished in kind of NFL purgatory for a lot longer than the Jacksonville Jaguars have. So you don't want to become one of those teams like the Buffalo Bills have been for most of the last 2 decades.
You got to remember, too, the Patriots stunk forever, and then all of a sudden they got hot.
Hey, look, Detroit's never been to a Super Bowl. I mean, there are a lot of teams. Philadelphia won their first one last year. These teams have been around for a long, long time, and, it's tough to sell your fan base on the success you had in the 1950s.
That's a good point. Not many of those fans are buying tickets anymore. We'll come back in a moment. A visit with the Ozone right around the corner. Jaguars.com senior writer John Ogier is in Buffalo. Jeff Logum and Tony Baselli are back for some final thoughts. Network coverage begins at noon with countdown to kickoff, and we're a little over an hour away from Week 12. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park, and from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Radio.
When you look around, you might feel pride is in short supply these days. Everything's being disrupted. But Ford has been around for 115 years, and we know the only constant is change. So, disruption, yeah, it's what we do every day. You see, we still take pride in what we build and how we build. We even take pride in taking pride. And the world could use more of that right now. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, why do it at all? Build Ford proud.
Only in Jacksonville can you tour a state-of-the-art hospitality show home before a game. Hi, this is Lauren Brooks. Make it a point to visit the Dreamfinders Home's newest stadium home before any home Jaguars game. Take a free tour and register for a chance to win amazing grand prizes. Dreamfinders Homes will select one winner per home game. Only at Dreamfinders Homes Stadium Home 2.0 by Gate 4 at TIAA Bank Field. Dreamfinders Homes, homes built to fit your lifestyle.
At Papa John's, we like to say, better sausage, better beef, better bacon, better julienne-cut Canadian bacon, better pepperoni. Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium meats pizza made with 5 premium meats free of artificial flavors or fillers. Or our new barbecue meats pizza made with smoky Southern-style barbecue sauce for only $6.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. Prices and participation may vary. Taxes, tip, and delivery fee extra.
Massage Envy announces their newest game changer, professionally assisted stretch. Increase mobility, flexibility, and blood flow. Add stretch to relaxing therapeutic massage sessions and you're game ready. Visit any of the 7 Jacksonville area Massage Envy locations in Bartram Park, Fleming Island, Harbor Village, Jacks Beach, Oakleaf, Ortega, and Southside. Text stretch to 82257 to receive a free 30-minute professionally assisted stretch offer when you purchase any massage session. Text the word stretch to 82257.
If you are considering selling your home or just wondering what your home might be worth, it's important to talk with someone you can trust, a Weichert agent. Your Weichert agent will prepare a marketing plan that will help you arrive at the optimum selling price and will expose your home to more buyers faster. Contact a Weichert Realtors affiliate today by calling 1-800-USA-SOLD or visit Weichert.com to find the office nearest you. Weichert. Local, knowledgeable, personal service. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
In Florida, bicyclists have the same rights and responsibilities as everyone else on the road. So when you ride, follow the rules. Always wear a helmet and use lights on your bike. And drivers, watch for cyclists. Give them space to ride. And don't forget, when making that right on red, look to your right first to see if a cyclist is approaching in the bike lane. We all have a responsibility to keep ourselves and each other safe. Alert today, alive tomorrow. Because safety doesn't happen by accident. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Final moments of the Publix Tailgate Show. The Jags and the Bills tee it up at 1 o'clock at New Era Field in Orchard Park, New York. Network coverage begins at noon with countdown to kickoff. It's time for our weekly visit with the Ozone.
The Ozone.
Jaguars.com senior writer John Ozier from New Era Field in Orchard Park. Hi, John. Good morning.
It may be called New Era Field, but I always think of it as Chip Field because I'm here with Tony Baselli, who got a lot of chip help back in '96 on this field when he played Bruce Smith. So for me, it's always Chip Field.
Yeah, we were talking about that walking in the stadium today, Johnny.
Yeah. When you're 3-7, you think about the past a lot, JP.
We were talking about when. Well, John, you had to come up here and interview Bruce Smith after we played in '96.
I came up here 2 years later, guys, and I did a story on Bruce Smith and Tony Baselli, and Bruce laid it out for about 15 minutes, and as far as I know, there was a lot of chipping, a lot of help going on because the Hall of Famer said it.
Yeah.
So that's what I wrote. That's what I buy into.
That's what you call revisionist history.
What was my response when you came back in Jacksonville back in 1997?
I saw Tony a couple of days later, and Tony was trying to drag me to the film room to show me the real stuff. So I believe Tony, but I have to because I'm sitting there next to him.
He has no choice right now.
When was the last time we talked to Bruce, Tony?
Probably the last 2000 on the field. That's when we played him.
Really?
Yeah. It's not like we're friends, JP.
I mean, JP, come on. You think these guys are buddy after Tony wiped the turf with his face?
The game was different. It was like guys weren't friends back then, really.
You guys didn't exchange jerseys after the game
no,
like they
we
do
didn't.
nowadays?
I was going to say, there's not a 78 jersey at the Baselli Mansion?
We didn't exchange jerseys.
You should have asked him for the jersey after the game. Hey, I owned you. Can I get your jersey?
We didn't.
Well, it was ripped from all the holding.
All the holding, yeah.
That's what Bruce would say.
We didn't share. We didn't follow each other on Instagram. We weren't Twitter friends, Facebook followers. I mean, none of that.
Not quite how it works.
No, it was actually much different back then. I mean, we walked off the field. He dog cussed me, MF'd me as we walked to the locker room, and that was about it.
Okay, great. Looking forward to seeing you again. See you, Bruce.
Watch us on TV next week. Thanks, Bruce. How big a loss is Darius today, fellas?
That surprised me. Me and Tony both. We just found out a few minutes ago. We're like, wow.
It's a huge loss. He is their best run. Him and Calais Campbell have been dominant in the run this year.
Really good.
Really good football. And Marcel Darius, they're a better football team when he's on the field. And I think, that means Malik is going to start. Malik got benched because he was not doing well against the run. This Buffalo team wants to run the ball with Shady McCoy. I think it's a huge loss.
This is exactly the game you need, Darius. And I thought he had played as well as, probably any player in the Jaguars' defense, Calais Campbell included. So
now we get Eli Ankou. It's his first game active for the year. And he's coming off of a calf injury. How good can he be? I don't know. But now you really only have, I think, one true three technique because that's Malik. And so I would also imagine that Taven Bryan is going to kick over and play three technique like he did last week.
Which I think he's actually better at.
Does he make any plays? I mean, that's the thing with Taven Bryan. I mean,
fair enough.
Maybe he's better at the three technique, but I mean, have you seen him make more plays since he's got an opportunity to play there?
This is where the light comes on. This is when it happens.
If the net result is 0 plays, does it matter, is what Jeff's saying.
Yeah.
Can Malik Jackson turn it around here the rest of the way? What do you think, guys?
I think Malik is a good football player, and he got his butt handed to him against the Colts, and it was ugly at times. And so to have him demoted last week, I thought was deserved. And you can't continue to reward negative play, and that was negative play that Malik had against the Colts. And Marcel's been playing at a higher level. So can he do a good enough job? Sure he can. I mean, he's a Pro Bowl player last year.
I actually think he's going to have a great game today. That's the sense I get. I think he's going to be really good because of knowing that's an opportunity. And down the stretch, I mean, what you're playing for now, John, is money for the next year.
Right, and clearly it's an area where they're not supposed to be deficient. If you have to have depth somewhere, you'd rather have a Pro Bowl guy coming in, and I think Avery's a good nose tackle. They can do it on the front. It just mattered, can Ankou and Taven Bryan be good when those two guys aren't in the game? That's the question mark to me.
Another question on the offensive side was answered with the inactive list. A.J. Can was not on that. Well, he wasn't on it last time either and had to leave the game. Where's your confidence level in Can?
About the same as what it was after last week's game.
It's a series-to-series evaluation.
Yeah, and when A.J. was in the early part of the game last week, JP, I mean, we saw the film, Tony. I mean, it wasn't the same player.
But he was better than Chris. He was better when they were in there. He was better than Chris Reed.
He was better than Chris Reed in pass protection, but I don't want to completely slam Chris Reed because I thought he did a really good job in run blocking, but you got to be able to protect the quarterback if you're going to get playing time.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, we're talking about one time he was complete
look out,
whiff, look out quarterback, and then another two where it was a game in conjunction with Tyler
Which
Shatley.
was a lookout again.
And then another one with a game with Parnell on the right side.
Couple of lookout blocks.
You know,
so a lot of good feelings from up here, JP. You're feeling good, JP and Mike.
I can tell.
Yeah, it's a good
good vibe.
Positive
good
energy.
vibe from New Era Field.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Oh, and by the way, they're missing a couple of special teams aces today, John. And,
missing DJ Chark hurts.
Yeah.
On special teams, he's been their best gunner and probably their best special teams player in terms of making an impact. And I think what you hope for with him is that it's only a 1 week thing because you really needed him over these last 4 or 5 games to take a step to where you feel really good about him among your top 3 receivers next year.
Let me add this. It doesn't sound encouraging, the injury that he had.
Well, right.
About him coming back next week. So, but I may be wrong. Look, I was wrong about Darius, but we'll see about DJ.
You're wrong about a lot of things.
That's all right.
Well, Doug said on Friday if they thought it was a multi-week, meaning 3 or 4,
IR.
he'd probably be on IR already, so maybe it's just 2. That's your hope.
He said that it's something if you want to see about. Anyway, we'll find out about that.
We're speculating right now.
Here's the best thing.
Let's talk about today.
He's been a really good player for the Jaguars, and they're gonna miss him. He's been the best special teams player.
Okay, but hold on, Jeff. Can I stop you there for a second? You said he's been a really good player for the Jaguars. I think you need to be specific. When you draft a guy in the second round, you're drafting him to be a very good wide receiver. You're not drafting a guy in the second round to be a great gunner. And he's been a great gunner. You're not drafting a guy in the second round to be a great special teams player per se.
True.
And so I think one of the disappointments for me, yes, in the here and now of this game, guys, we're going to miss him on special teams. But what worries me, what I wanted to see is how does he progress over these last 6 as a wide receiver.
I'm with you.
Because we need him as a wide receiver next year.
Need him here this year.
Well, this year, but I'm talking as you're looking to build. You want to find out if he's a guy you can build with.
Well, the second-round draft pick, you don't necessarily panic if in the first part of the season
no, not at all.
They weren't excelling, but you sure need these last 4 or 5 games. He's one of the guys, Taven Bryan, Ronnie Harrison, one of 2 or 3 guys who is a legitimate case for play him as much as possible, young guy, take a vet out and have that replaced, and it's not good that he can't do that.
And that's one of the reasons, guys, even if it's a 3-week injury, maybe even a 4-week injury, I don't put him on IR.
Because why not?
Why burn him? If I just get 2 more games with him at wide receiver,
let him get reps.
You need reps.
Final thought here quickly, guys. What's been the reaction to Doug Marrone's return to Buffalo so far, John? Anything?
Not really much. I mean,
non-story.
I didn't really walk around looking for it. I can't believe it's. I mean, I'm sure he'll get booed at some point if they flash his face up on the screen. I haven't really felt that though, guys.
No, I mean it's look, that's old news. I mean they've got a new coach, a new quarterback, a new general manager here in Buffalo, new owner.
Right.
You know, and I think that everybody's moved on. Will the fans boo him? Sure. But are they going to go out of their way to yell at him and curse at him? I don't think so.
I'm sure if you walked out with the Doug Marrone picture to a tailgate, there'd be a reaction.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a vibe for this, and
no.
No.
Do you have a Doug Marrone picture with you, John?
It's tattooed on my chest.
Here's the one thing, JP. There's a lot of other things to be upset about in Buffalo besides the return of Doug Marrone.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. All right.
Well said, Jeff.
Way to finish. Jeff Lockeman, Tony Baselli, John Ozier will come back with network coverage. Countdown to kickoff around the corner. Pete Prisco, Fred Taylor, and head coach Doug Marrone. We're an hour away from the Jags and the Bills, and this is Jaguars Radio.